And it'd be nice to have it on the website as well.
Absolutely.
We're gonna leave the planning board vacant, right?
That's my recommendation. The planning board is meeting this afternoon at 3. We have 3 subdivisions to discuss and no other business. So essentially you could come in, I'm sorry, we have election of officers, so you could come in for that, but I would have to ask you to leave because we're discussing subdivisions. And I hope you would never take that personally. But so I just think it would be fairly pointless to have a commissioner appointed to the planning board because generally we're discussing subdivisions, which you can't be a part of that communication until I bring it forward to you at a commission meeting. So.
Okay.
And the same with the tax appeal board. I think we scratched that off. You're always welcome. These are fairly formal hearings. They're, the folks are sworn in, but those are always open to the public. I just don't know that there's a need for there to be a liaison. I will just simply notify you of when these tax appeal hearings are, which we did not have one last year. And we had 3 the year before, so it's kind of sporadic.
Okay. Who's currently on the trust board now?
I have been, I was a non-voting member before, so 3 years ago, as the liaison. I would like to ask one of you two to take on the trust board. So, it's a good board, they do good stuff, they're sitting on $1.3 million. So I think there's gonna be some great opportunity with that board. We need a little bit more transparency, and the auditors are working on a plan for us. So, I think it should be somebody different on the trust board and the recreation board.
All right, agree.
I would take the trust board, because my involvement, or ex-involvement with the ball field, kinda limits me on the recreation board.
All right, well then we'll do the recreation board.
I was going to ask for the recreation board, but I'm going to relinquish it to you.
Okay,
They are brand new.
yeah,
It is an excellent board. They kind of got the rug pulled out from under them, so they've reorganized. Adam Six is now the chair. They've got tremendous opportunity. So
okay.
I think that will be fun and absolutely.
Great.
I may sit in sometimes just to
Sure.
kind of see what's going on.
Well, they have some funding now too, right?
Well,
A little
not
bit.
really.
A little bit,
They have 75-ish thousand.
yeah.
One of the things they were asked for in the last meeting is a master plan of the fairgrounds. So there's a lot of focus on, hey, what can we do about the fairgrounds? What can we do with the fairgrounds? And Al Christofferson from the trust board said, you really need to have a master plan. So one of the comments made during the meeting was, if you don't have that, we're just gonna put up another building where it's not in the right place. Was it the commercial building that they were talking about specifically? So the commercial building, if it were somewhere else, they could use the grounds a little bit more wisely with an overall arching plan. So that's one of the things that the recreation board's been looking at, is spending their money on somebody to help facilitate an overall county recreation survey, and then also some kind of a master plan at the fairgrounds. They kind of know how to move forward, what needs to be done, what wants to be done, and what the community as a whole wants done. So you'll have your fair board folks, 4-H folks, your rodeo folks, and then the rest of the community. So
Okay.
bringing together all those different opinions will take somebody who kind of knows what they're doing. So there's an update for you. Again, that's, in my opinion, that is one of our most exciting boards.
All right, so with what you just said there, working with the rec board, would it make sense for me to work with the fair board to keep continuity with what, the things that are going on or not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If you wanna come to the rodeo board, we meet every second Monday of the month.
All right, keep me in the loop.
I just happen to be the president, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would probably be good to attend that.
And can I ask a question on that? The rodeo board is not governed by this commission, correct? Okay, good, because I don't have you on my list, so, okay, good.
I would take solid waste,
All right.
unless somebody else wants.
You've done a lot of work with solid waste. I'll take the weed board. I would like to talk a little bit about that, when we're done, maybe.
Okay. So what's the TV board about?
Right now, that's the three of us.
Okay.
We just don't have anybody else who's interested. We did have one person interested, but there was no follow-through. So Harold Gibbs here in town, he is kind of responsible at the local level of making sure that everything's working with the TV. We have some reporting that has to be done, and he has said he was going to do that. Franklin and he were friends, so Franklin was going to get him a laptop. Do you know if that was ever done?
I don't know if it was ever done, I know we approved it, and it was talked about.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was ever taken care of.
We should follow up with Harold to make sure he got that. Okay. So we have, I don't know if he's the only one in the state, but we've got a guy, I think he's from Missoula, his name is Charlie Canalito, and he does all our TV work for us. So he files the FCC, when there's an issue he comes down. Mike, again, is gone, but Charlie just showed up one day about a month ago and said, yeah, you guys have an issue. He fixed it and he was gone.
Hmm.
So he's been fabulous. He's
Good.
made it really easy to be on the TV board. He brought to us the option for 4 more channels. That's cost us very, very little. We have PBS for free. So we have some good channels
Okay.
for folks.
So you want to just kind of keep it the way it is, keep the three of us on there for now?
I think it'd be a good idea to keep it advertised, but yeah.
Okay,
The law says if you don't have enough people on your board, it reverts to the commissioners.
gotcha.
Yeah. And we don't have TV at my house, so I'm not a real good TV board member.
Okay. What's left? Board of investments?
Board of Investments and Historical
Oh,
Society.
historical stuff, yeah.
I also have Board of Health. Was that filled in?
So all three of us are on.
All three of you, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep,
And the same with compensation,
yep,
is that correct? Okay,
yep.
super.
And the Mosquito Board also is the three of us right now till we get more members. We do have 2, or we might do
Two.
2 or 3,
Mhm.
just 2.
Two for Townsend and 1 for Three Forks. Not you.
Okay.
I mean, not Commissioner
Right.
Fulmore. There is another person besides you, but if you want that.
Yeah.
So do we have 3 people on the mosquito board in town?
We have 2.
And who are those?
Joe Gill and, I didn't print it
Philip
out.
Knopf?
Nope, he's been
Chuck.
on there for quite some time, Chuck Allen,
Yep,
Okay,
and he's been on it for a long
for a
time.
really long time.
He knows where all the bodies are buried.
all right.
So am I putting all 3 of you on Townsend or,
Yes.
okay. And then what about the Three Forks?
I'd say that's up to you, Darrell. Do you want the full commission
Sure,
on Three
I
Forks?
mean, do they have an active board?
I really know very little about them, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I contact Larry Phillips and find
Pardon me, Ann?
out. Contact Larry Phillips and find out. what's
He's
going
the,
on.
he's the longstanding board member there, Larry Phillips, and I can get you, I'll email you his
do
information.
Sure.
So all 3 or just you?
Well, I mean, if I have somebody to work with, that's fine.
Okay,
You know, if there's nobody there, then I guess it'll have to come back to us.
okay.
And if Larry wants, you know, I would say ask Larry what he wants to.
Okay.
Well, I'd be happy to do the Historical Society. Board of Investments is a incredibly important board, but it's not a heavy lift. It's, it was created by resolution 2 years ago-ish, and Doug oversees it. When he has a CD that's maturing, oftentimes it helps him to have a board of people to run the idea by of where should this money go. Should we do this CD or that CD, should be heavy in this, that, or the other thing. He's got people from the school, representative from Three Forks, one commissioner, city council is on that. Chris Wright is on that as a citizen.
I remember either, but it was too much responsibility for one person to do. That's why this board was created.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
All right.
Okay.
And then the tax appeal board, is that all three of us, or what do we do there?
That's none of us.
It's,
Not that we don't like that.
right. I think it's important information, when the taxpayer comes forward. You simply would not have an opportunity to comment or discuss. You can simply be there, view the hearing. Does that make sense? Which doesn't mean you wouldn't have to put somebody on here, but there's no reason why any of you just couldn't show up. Because it's not a board that you could actually sit at the table at or have any participation in.
And it's full, isn't it? Don't we have 3 people
Mhm.
on it?
Well, I'm still searching for one more member,
Oh, okay.
so it's still advertised.
Who
I'm gonna
was
run all
our-
these.
We had a kind of a 4 people who wanted 3 seats. Who was our?
One of them moved. So
Oh,
right now we
okay.
have Chris Wright and Jeff Joffrey
Okay.
and 1 vacancy.
Okay.
So, but I did have an interested person 2 years ago that I will reach out to and see if he's still interested.
I recall that, but I can't tell you who that was.
I remember who it is.
Good. All right.
And these folks, I don't know if you've ever attended a tax appeal hearing, but they actually have to be hired, if you will, by the state tax appeal board. And the state tax appeal board actually pays the members for their time. And I am the secretary for that, and all of my reporting is sent to the state tax appeal board. So,
Payment for that used to come from the state that paid those members, that paid the secretary, that paid the advertising, that paid all
Mhm.
the administrative pieces for that. Last session, that was one of the things that the state cut and said, no, counties, you go ahead and fund this too. So now it comes from us.
but the payment of the board members still comes from the state, is that correct?
I understand that's us now.
That's you now.
too.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I have a question about the weed board. Well, I have a couple of questions. So I met with Andy Hunthausen on the he was gonna be doing the board training on the 31st. And, he's not gonna talk as much about the law that Dan Clark did a couple of years ago. He's going to talk about what he's seen as far as mistakes made, pitfalls to avoid, best practices, that kind of thing. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is talking about the bylaws. So we have the template bylaws that we agreed on last meeting. So I talked to Jason Riddle at Mako, and he said, I've seen counties do that. What they do is they just hand it off to those boards and say, do it, and they never see them again. So one of the things that we need to do either in that training or as liaisons is make sure those bylaws get the information plugged in. They can add more flavor or just keep it basic. Doesn't have to be a heavy lift.
The final board approval with the bylaws is by us, is that right?
Correct. We'd be wise to make sure that the boards buy in. We don't want to dictate to them. It makes it a longer process, but I think it's a better process. So, so if you guys have anything you want covered by Andy, you let him know. And Allison's also going to be at the training to help train on parliamentary procedure. So most of our boards, just like the weed board last week, they follow parliamentary procedure, but they're not real stuffy. They still have fun, they still laugh, they get the job done. So that's kind of the tack that she's gonna take is, here's what you do and how you do it, but you don't need to be real formal. People have to stand up and come to a podium and spell their last name, that kind of thing. So, yeah, unless you guys have other ideas.
We talked about the board handbook produced by MSU. Is that something we still want to do?
I think so.
Okay.
Is there a cost? Did you notice for the
Yeah,
online edition?
it was, I think it was $15 for the printed version and maybe $7 for the online version. If I remember right. I just went to the MSU bookstore, that's where you would purchase it from. Said that the printed version was not available at the moment, they're updating it. So,
Yeah,
you know, it's been my experience, if you have something that's printed, people have more of a tendency to read it than an
Right.
online one.
and what we can do with online is print it ourselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Can we do that? I was wondering if we got that, could we take and actually
mhm.
print that and distribute it?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, it's just not bound, it's stapled.
yeah,
But yeah, we can do that. And since we have departments who are heads of all these, or us commissioners, there's no reason we can't. I would suggest printing a copy for the chair, and if they're interested, then
Right.
giving it out to the full board. But I don't think we wanna do 150 copies.
No,
You know,
no.
I think that would be,
But I think that's how it should go, is that the chair should get it, and then he should pass it around those board members, and if they all have it.
yeah. And I think we should buy an online copy per board, so they each have their
Okay.
own. Rather than,
Mhm.
I just don't think it'd be right to buy one and copy it
Sure.
again, 150 times.
And, you know, at some of our training that we've had recently, do we want to start talking about our fraud policy and whatever our county policies that they're required to follow?
Yeah, yeah, you do,
Okay.
I think,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right.
So maybe, are you thinking, let's put some time on the agenda for putting something together?
Yeah, I guess we need to talk about what we think is appropriate
Yeah,
that they should be following. I mean, they're gonna receive the training, and they'll get a handbook of what they need, you know, how, what their operation should be like. They'll have their bylaws, but I think they need to be aware of these policies.
yeah.
uh,
I don't think we'll have them ready
Right,
right away.
but at some point down,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, as we go along with this. It kinda seems like we're at the point now where our boards maybe, I don't know, I don't wanna say if this is the right phrase, kinda got away from us a little bit. We're kind of bring them back in, make sure everybody's singing off the same page
Yes,
is what we're trying to accomplish, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Super.
So my question with the weed board, when, I think, when we work with these boards, of course, we work on behalf of the commission. And that's why we have the commissioners' updates, so we're all aware, and so we can ask these questions. So my question for the weed board, they want to go to a 7-member board, and I'm took minutes for them, I'm more than happy to do that, but in reading the minutes, we have a issue with the weed plan that hasn't been updated. And one of the things discussed at the meeting was that state's gonna be withholding the $7,500. They wanted to have a working meeting to work on the bylaws and increasing their board to 7, but there wasn't a plan to have a working meeting to put together that weed management plan. So what I'm wondering is if you guys would support, just letting them know we're gonna keep it as is, 5 members, the members that we have on it stand. And with the interest that we would like to see you guys maybe put that time into finalizing the weed management plan so that we don't lose funding. What do you guys think? And what did you hear in that meeting along those lines?
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that we need to do at this point, and they have the new appointed board member, what's his name again?
Peter Rice.
Peter Rice.
Right.
Peter Rice has the skill set and the talent to help him
Mhm.
write these policies. I mean, he has that background, and I think if they can utilize that, that would help him out quite a bit.
I would agree with that. I think keep them at 5 and then have them make sure they get that weed plan done so they don't lose that money. Because isn't there a bill in front of the legislature right now to increase the funding for weed boards
Yes,
by
yeah,
a substantial amount?
yes,
Okay. Yeah, we don't wanna lose that funding. I think they
Right.
need to get that done before they address bylaws or new members.
I agree.
I agree with that.
All right, so I'll share that with them from the commission, so that they're aware of kind of where they need to go. I don't want them to be over here doing this when we've decided over here, well, we're gonna concentrate on this, so it's just a way of communicating, keeping those lines open.
So So did you send a letter to Jeannie Steele?
Appointing her to the planning board?
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
And I called her and I emailed her, so she
Okay,
knows.
'cause she hadn't heard. I talked to her, I think Thursday or something, she said she hadn't heard yet, or maybe it was, I can't remember what day it was. It was before the Board of Health.
Yeah. I spoke with her Wednesday afternoon.
Okay,
Last
so it was
Wednesday.
before that meeting?
Okay.
Okay, okay. So is that all we have for boards then?
Yes, sir. That's all I have anyway.
Nice work.
You
Thank
make
you,
my job
Nicole.
easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just make a copy.
That meeting at Andy on Houses is the 31st at
6.
6 o'clock at the senior
center.
center.
Right.
Oh, that was the other thing. Our department head meetings, we'll be able to have those there too.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just have to work around Pinochle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Don't get in
Wednesdays,
the way of
right?
Pina.
that's right, priorities.
Wednesday, and sometimes they have a two-dayer,
Right,
so
yeah.
that's good. I'm glad that they do it.
They asked for a donation. They have some needs coming up. We've every year funded something big for the senior center, so, we'll just wanna put that in
Sure.
our memory banks.
Okay.
Did you have a question, Tim?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just request for a little public clarification on the board appointments by where the commissioners will serve. I know that there's really, the language is really important with the commissioner being a liaison between the board to be able to come back to this body and relay that information, but there are also cases where all three commissioners sit, for example, the compensation board, where all three commissioners serve on that and make a decision there, and then come to this table here for a final decision. That's been questioned in the past. We would like to just make sure that the board appointments on most of your advisory boards certainly are just for your opportunity as a commissioner to serve the people by being able to know what's going on with that board and bring that back to this body for discussion if needed and/or decisions. And again, I'm just kind of paraphrasing some of the questions that have been asked out there. So if Mr. Chairman, you would just make sure that the public has got that clear delineation of what that purpose of serving on them boards is, and if you're a voting member, does that negate any questions? Again, it's just been raised multiple times in the past, and we just want to make sure we're clear.
And I think the only ones that we're voting members on, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the Board of Health and the Compensation Board. But the Compensation Board makes a recommendation to the commission, and the commission makes a decision on that recommendation. I guess
Again,
we're still
that's an
voting
example.
members on the board, but we're not a majority of the board.
I'm not sure what
Five
Tim is
members on the
asking,
board.
but
So there's three.
most of our boards are advisory, so they cannot act on spending money or hiring a secretary without this commission saying, yes, you may. So,
And I guess I'd like to add too, and of course, I've only been involved in a few so far, but it seems like all the boards I've been to, there's meetings, minutes that are kept and that are available to the public. They have agendas that are posted as well, so those are all public knowledge. If people are wanting to know more of what's going on, that's available for them.
And again, that's one of the reasons why the questions get asked, is because a lot of times there's the different advisory boards. It's hard to keep the people informed of when they are and how the process works. So again, that's the reason for the request for clarification.
Okay, let's see, we got some mail and claims here. These are payroll claims for 1/15/2019 in a total of $193,789.22.
I reviewed the claims, and then I'd like to make a motion that we pay the claims as posted.
I will second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded to pay claims and set them out, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Let's see, we have some receipts here, receipt of $10,000 from JSJ Incorporated that was doing from the Silos Campground. That was a donation that was sent to the Canyon Ferry Trust, and the Canyon Ferry Trust wanted us to put that into the Recreation Department fund.
And the reason that went through the trust, just so anybody who wants to is more than welcome to give a donation to Broadwater County and direct it to a board that we have. Just putting that out there for the public. This is an incredibly generous donation by JSJ, and went through the trust board because that's actually a 501c3, so it's tax deductible. So it's tax deductible for anyone who's interested.
And this is the receipt that Corey had mentioned before from Granite County, I believe it is. Granite County, Phillipsburg, for $25,000 contribution to the Barris case. This is a letter from Safe Kids Yellowstone County, inform you of the Pediatric Ambulance Transport Child Restraint System called the ACR. Request your assistance in raising funds to purchase them for ambulance services across Montana. We are asking each county to contribute a donation toward the statewide pediatric safety program. We're to consider purchasing at least one for your local EMS service. The unit costs $800. Something the ambulance system might want to look into. There's a letter from the ISO building code effectiveness grading schedule. We don't have a building code, so I don't know what pertain. That's it for the mail.
Oh, one more piece here. This came from Teresa, just before our meeting, and it's a letter for Marr and Jefferson counties, letting them know about the WIC program. Like was shared last week, they've already spoken to all the clients. This is to let the commissioners know that we are no longer going to be traveling and taking care of their WIC clients.
So we need to read this then, or do we just need to?
Well, we don't, because she wanted some feedback for edits. But what I thought is, since time is running out, could, and I'd be happy to make the motion, but could we go ahead and move that we're gonna go ahead and sign the letter as long as the substance remains the same? Edits to add detail, or perhaps grammatical edits. So I will move that we sign the pending letters as edited to Marr and Jefferson counties regarding WIC.
Okay, and we'll have an opportunity to see that letter before it
Absolutely.
goes.
Yep. Nothing goes out from the commission, not in a revised agenda, not a letter, not an email, without first running it by the full commission. You can send something out from Commissioner Darrell Fulford, but if it goes out by the commission, that needs to have at least been discussed that, okay, so it's okay for the commission to go ahead and communicate this, just like with the weed board.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this letter to be sent to the Marr County Commission and Jefferson County Commission concerning the WIC services. Broadwater County's ceasing that operation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
And we don't need to sign it yet.
I'll practice.
Perfect.
And we did get some emails from them people also. Okay, is there anything else to come before the commission? Yes, sir.
So our geo control system, it passed away.
I heard that.
So, I guess I chatted with Mike, this morning, and, there's a guy who's gonna have to rebuild the whole thing, and upgrade it, but I guess the computer burned up in it, so we're without that for probably a couple of weeks.
Oh, couple of weeks, huh?
Yeah,
So,
so,
everything's manual now?
yeah, and,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can't do,
Can't do
inmates
it.
can't buzz in or anything, so it's,
changed the dynamics quite a lot.
Okay.
Added to workload.
Yeah, and they had to switch to a different company. The one that generated that initial program isn't around. So they're gonna work diligently at it, but obviously that's a huge problem, and I don't know what the bill's gonna look like. But it's a necessary evil, so it's kind of where we're at. Just wanted to
Okay.
let you guys know that we're having a couple technical issues next door, so, to say the
Alright.
least, so.
So will this fix be a permanent fix, or is this a bridge to
No,
something
this
different?
this should be the new, it should be the new program. I shouldn't say a new program, the original program was built off of Windows 97, or Word 97, I think is what it was, software, so that's been outdated for a long time. And so I think we'll get up to speed on what's currently out there. I just don't know what it's gonna look like. But Mike assured me that the guy who's working on it, this is what he does for work, so, Mike seems to be pretty comfortable that this guy knows what the heck he's doing, so, we'll see, so. I know the folks, Mike said he tried to get the other folks to give him another backup, about a year and a half ago, and they said, yeah, I never did. And so, it's really got us in a wrong pickle. So, hopefully, we'll see how this next one goes, we might be able to do something.
Okay, thanks, Wayne.
Since you've brought up money, I don't know if you guys remember, but, Mike, when we were at our last district meeting, what was that, August? We heard that there was a bill that was gonna be up in the legislature. This will affect you too. Legislature wants to go after entitlement share. That's about a $450,000 hit to Broadwater County. So, that would hit the sheriff's budget, rural fire, general fund, planning, district court would be hugely affected by that. So, just, I haven't seen the bill yet,
Okay.
but that's a big one. So when we're talking about the budget, things we have to fund, we just need to be aware that entitlement share could be on the chopping block. They froze it 2 years ago. PILT, we're almost in February and we have absolutely no information that we will get PILT this year. A $750,000 hit. So,
Just to jump in there, I thought that last email that Chanel from the.
Chantil?
Chantil, I thought, I was going through all that, I thought that bill on that entitlement money was somewhere in that mess of stuff, that there was a high priority under Mako to be involved on that one. I thought it was, and I might be wrong.
oh, good, I'll double
So-
check, thank you.
Yeah, because I went through that and seeing what, obviously, from what MSPOA is looking at, or even the Corners Association, what we had to pay attention to, but then kind of seeing where Mako was falling in on some of that stuff as well. So, it doesn't surprise me that they're after that again. I mean, they're after 911 funds, they're after entitlement money, they're after everything they can get. And we still have an operation to run, folks. We can't just keep, the whole state can't shut down here. And, all the money that we're using to keep it afloat, I'm not sure what the thought process is, and I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, but it's scary.
Yeah. And I will say this, tomorrow there's a bill, Senate Bill 30. It's on, in regards to LAC here, we've been working really hard trying to get a peer-to-peer support group started, or a support system started here in Broadwell. And so Melinda Holm has gone through the training. She's a certified peer-to-peer. That's one of the requirements from the state, is that they have to be certified peer-to-peer. We met with Jim Haney or something like that last week in regards to trying to get the funding and everything. But the Senate Bill 30, which is up tomorrow, and I'm not sure what time off the top of my head, if I can get there, I'll get there, but it's trying to get Medicaid reimbursed on that peer-to-peer. So, but right now we don't have any mental health services, so this is kind of the best shot we've got. So, we've put a lot of time and effort into trying to get this to work, and I think we're on the stretch where we're getting close to being able to put it in play. So, we're just get there. But,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Have you had a chance to use Melinda yet, or?
No, she's actually been, she's been going and doing ride-alongs with the patrol guys, and she did one with Seth, trying to kind of see what our side of the fence looks like. But our goal with that is that as we have people within our community that have mental health issues that we deal with on a regular basis. My issue has been, and always will be, I hate taking somebody who's having a mental health crisis and putting them in handcuffs and putting them in the back of a marked unit to then get drugged up to Helena or Bozeman and babysat by a uniformed officer for 6, 8, 12 hours to then get taken to a behavioral health unit or to the Journey Home or the Hope House or something like that. It's kind of humiliating for them, and I don't like doing that. Plus the fact is when they're in a crisis, uniform might set them off and then we end up getting a wrestling match with them. And I don't like doing that either. So mental health is a medical issue, it's not a law enforcement issue. And so this way, hopefully, Melinda, we can contact her and she'll be able to have a relationship with these people already, or she can create one to where when they're having a problem, they can just reach out to her or what have you, and it takes us out of the loop. And they can transport them up there, or we can transport them differently, but it takes away that law enforcement component of dealing with those situations in the fashion that it seems to keep happening. So I have good feelings about it. I hope it works. And like I said, we've been at this for about 7 months now. So I think we've come a long ways. And I know that Jim guy, he runs all the peer-to-peer for the state of Montana. And so I believe they're grant funding some of that startup stuff. So laptop, phone, things of that nature. They're redoing the Hill House at the Alliance Church. That'll be an area that she'll be able to work out of and meet with people and stuff like that. So our goal is maybe having a drop-in center for that, where people can come in. We used to have the center here. I think it was in the 300 block, I think is where it was at. I'm trying to remember exactly. No, it was right there at where Allison was out there in the ambulance building. When they were there, man, we didn't have nearly the problems that we did. And since we've lost a lot of that stabilization within the community, we've had a lot of issues. And it takes back to last June where we had 14 attempted suicides in like 10 days. And so, we want to prevent those things from happening. So it was kind of a gist of what's going on there in the LAC. So, and then there is, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the House Bill 133 changes. That's going to be quite a debacle. I don't know if you guys watched that or not, but I'll be up back at the Capitol Thursday, most of the day for for that. One is qualifications for the office of the sheriff, it's one of the bills that's up there, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we have our House Bill 133 executive meeting, and that's to change the language in disorderly conduct is one of them, because right now it's based upon a first conviction. And we had that incident after Oktoberfest, where we kicked the guy out of Oktoberfest, and then we ended up dealing with him 5 more times because he wouldn't go home. And so eventually, like, what do we do with him? So throw him in jail. And I got my hand slapped for that. But if you keep telling the guy to go home and he doesn't do it, he just goes from bar to bar. And so they've changed the language. I know DOC, we've gotten some oppositions. Cynthia Walton and myself have been trying to find something palatable that she'll agree to. I'm not sure why misdemeanors are in the purview of Department of Corrections, because they don't have any jurisdiction over them anyways. But I think we've come up with language that they're not gonna fight us on. So, we'll see. The other ones, the shoplifting bill, currently, the way the law reads is people get a citation, they walk away. And the gal yesterday had a meeting up there before the Mason Moore hearing, and she said one of the stores, I believe it was in Helena, had $1.8 million worth of loss. And because they can't stop them, they're not allowed to stop them anymore. And so people are using emergency exits and fire exits and stuff, taking $1,400 worth of stuff, putting it in a cart and walking right out the back door with it. And so the retail association's looking at trying to change those as well. So for my thing, they're trying to, Office of Public Defenders opposing anything as well, which is not a shocker. But they're trying to put a big financial note to really just kill the bill. So other than that, thank you for coming up yesterday and speaking on behalf of 156. It's hard to hear still after almost 2 years. And so I'm glad it passed unanimously through the House, or through the committee. Hopefully it does the same in the House, and we'll see what happens. But thank you for coming up and doing that. So.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Gwen. Anything else?
I have one little thing.
Okay.
I just got appointed to a national board for justice and public safety. So I thought I should let you guys know that. My hope is to bring home some information from that level, and also to communicate to them what some of our issues are at the rural side. They hear a lot from New York and California. I'm not so sure they hear a lot from rural communities, so I'll keep you updated on that.
Does anybody have anything else? Okay, so we will adjourn at,
At 4, with office hours.
office hours. We'll
Or
recess
recess?
until 1:30 then.
Mr. Chairman. So is there going to be some discussion on the requested change to do an adjournment after the official